All right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. I'm your host, Mark Pierce. It is Sunday, Slowdown Sunday. Still recovering from that Meatloaf episode yesterday. 15 minutes. That's the least I could do. I could have gone on for another 5-8 minutes probably, but that was a good one. Hope you listened to Meatloaf yesterday, and hope you found some new tracks that maybe you'd never heard before. What are we doing to slow things down today? Well, I heard this song maybe last week sometime, and I hear this song a lot when you switch around on satellite radio and you go on over to yacht rock. If you haven't done that, you need to do that on a Sunday. That's perfect. And then his name came up when talking about Meatloaf, so I thought, well, let's check this out. And we're talking about Todd Rundgren. He's an interesting guy. You guys probably are familiar with his name. He's 73 years old. He's a Philly cat. And he's a singer, songwriter, engineer, producer. He's an interesting guy. He grew up and fell in love with his parents' record collection, and then got into music. And by 1967, he formed a band called Nazz, N-A-Z-Z. Put out 3 records with that band, Nazz. The next album was called Nazz Nazz, and the next album was called Nazz 3. But they did pretty good. They did all right. They had a debut single that did all right. The B-side on that was a track we're going to talk about because that'll be your song of the day. So that's where he got started. He also basically went and left Nazz after a while, decided he wanted to be a producer instead, moved to New York City, started hanging out with the club scene, meeting all kinds of artists and some of the fashion people. And he ended up being an engineer at a club there, the house engineer, and ended up meeting up with the band and went out and recorded a record with another artist to Canada with them. And the band said, hey, will you produce or will you engineer our record? And he said, yeah. So he did Stage Fright with them, ended up doing some other work with the band. And he would also put out solo records early on. He kind of was over the mindset that he wasn't going to do any more solo work. He thought he would never do live performances, and so he put out a solo record by a band called Runt, or under the name Runt, and it wasn't credited to him. It was credited to someone named Run. So he did that, and then he basically spent the 70s. If you read through, it's a very long list of accomplishments. He spent the 70s and 80s, but mostly 70s, either producing something or singing something. And so he would go back and forth. So he ended up working on Badfinger's Straight Up, took that away from George Harrison, I think, who went on to do the concert for Bangladesh. And that record, if you remember, had Day After Day on it, that single. He didn't get credit for that, Todd Rundgren. That was Harrison, but that's quite a record there. His main band in the 70s was Utopia. I am not familiar with Utopia's music. They're prog rock. Some of you prog rock people out there might be familiar. But Utopia did a decent job of the 70s as well. Pretty big draw, and did a lot of touring, and they were popular. So again, he would go back and forth to performing and engineering or producing. And so he did the Grand Funk Railroads, American Band. He did the New York Dolls debut. So he was doing all kinds of work. In the end, up to now, 25 solo albums. The guy that wasn't going to do solo albums has done 25 solo albums. He did 3 albums with Nazz, as I mentioned, 9 albums with Utopia. And then this, out of nowhere, I kind of remember this, but I didn't remember he was in it. There was a band called the New Cars in 2005. 2 members of the Cars formed a band, and they called themselves the New Cars. Kind of reminds me of Spinal Tap, the originals. And anyway, the New Cars, that was him in the band. Anyway, these 25 solo albums, all that stuff. So it's interesting. Socially, if you remember correctly, he separated from his girlfriend in 1977, and their infant daughter, Liv Rundgren, later to be determined that her father was actually Steven Tyler of Aerosmith, so that would be Liv Tyler is her father. as we all know now. But she still has a close relationship with Todd as her father growing up as an infant and a child. So what are you doing? What are we doing for Song of the Day? We're going to try to keep it short here because there have been some long episodes here in the cave this week. So what's the song we're talking about? We're talking about one song. It's actually one Song of the Day today. And we have to go back to that Nas record. They put out that single. On the B-side was a song called Hello, It's Me. And later, when he was touring with Utopia, he would open up for his own band. He would open up on a piano. For his own band, and he did a performance on the Midnight Special. If you guys haven't checked out Midnight Special on YouTube, just put in YouTube Midnight Special, and you'll see all kinds of your favorite artists playing on this show, a show that I had never heard of until I got into this. But anyway, he did a performance of that song, Hello, It's Me, and he's dressed up, kind of looks like an owl, or he's got like bird feathers on his eyes, and very elaborate. He was known for his elaborate stage presence, his non-conforming music. Just an odd dude. But you watch this performance. It's a beautiful song. When you hear it, you'll know the song. But what he's wearing is it's a little strange. And the band Utopia, the guys were not particularly happy with that performance and when he would look like that. But anyway, first time I saw that video, I was like, oh, that's interesting. But anyway, you'll know this song, and that's your Song of the Day, which is Hello, It's Me by Todd Rundgren. And if you don't know this song, you're slowing it down and you're going to check it out. So that's your Song of the Day, 7 minutes. I didn't expect that, so it's not really that short. But enjoy whatever you're doing today. I hope it involves music. Slow it down on this Sunday. Keep warm if you're in the Northeast. And have a good one. I'm looking forward to next week. And as usual, I'll catch you on the flip side.